So I look over and I see this one ornament, and I go, that's it. That's it. I get up from the chair, I go over in the tree, I picked out the ornament, came back, and I go, that's it, done, pick the color. So I brought it into South City later that week, brought it into Bill, and he looked at me and he goes, you're kidding me. And that's how we ended up.
Yo, what up, C10 Nation? This is Ronnie from C10 Talk. C10 Talk is one of those podcast things. We talk C10 trucks, tech, and people. That's right, people. Because it's the people that make the scene so rad-ass. The trucks are cool, but the people are cooler. You can check out the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, C10Talk.com, and anywhere else you listen to your favorite podcasts. Thanks for checking out our latest video and being part of the C10 Nation.
Hey, how about a Ford? I know, but this is America's most beautiful truck. It won at the GNTS Grand National Truck Show, the first Grand National Truck Show, 2023. I've got Greg Tidwell, and you've got a stunner here.
Thank you.
Why a 1940 Ford?
You know, I always wanted a 1940 Ford because I like the lines. I mean, everything on it is Art Deco. It's got curves everywhere. I always thought they're beautiful. You know, and I kept looking, and this one ended up with a buddy of mine. He started the project, and he hit a wall, and he was going to sell it. And I happened to come around one day, and he says, hey, I'm selling my truck. I'm over it, da-da-da-da-da. So I said, how much? And then here we go. I picked it up, took it over to South City, and away we went.
Okay, so this guy has it. Did you already know that he had it, and you were keeping an eye on it, you know, or were you like, just let me know?
No, I knew he had it, and he'd been working on it. He kind of had it for a while, and he was kind of going through the ropes on it, and then I had no idea he was going to sell it. All of a sudden, he just decided, hey, I'm over it, so I'm going to sell it. He had, you know, just hit a wall, I guess, basically on the build of it, and said, hey, you know, I'm done. I'm going to move a different direction. So I said, okay.
After you get it, are you thinking it's going to be this extravagant? Are you thinking, I'm going to build a driver? I'm going to build something I can just cruise with the grandkids? What are you thinking?
I wanted a clean driver. Everything I have, I drive. And I've got some nice stuff, but I still drive them, and I plan on driving this one. So yeah, I was kind of set for a driver, but I kind of had in my mind kind of a theme where I wanted to go, period. And, you know, we kind of went through that process. But I did not know we'd end up here. Yeah. Didn't know this. I mean, you know, I figured it'd be nice, but I didn't figure it would be this nice. I didn't know we'd win world's most beautiful truck. And that's a big one.
What would you say was the biggest challenge during the build? Once you take it from your buddy, you take it to South City, and you're like, hey, what paint, what scheme, what stance? What was the hardest part?
I had a couple things that I wanted. I told Bill when we did this thing. I wanted air conditioner to work, and the motor I wanted gold. And other than that, I kind of wanted a late 50s, early 60s kind of era theme, kind of American graffiti-esque era. You know, wanted to look and sit correct, and kind of the rest went from there. I think the biggest hurdle we had was probably the color. You know, we started off with Bill had an idea on a color, which was a green like this, but every time we do a paint out, I'm like, man, it just didn't look right. So I left that green, and I went to gold, to purple, to red. I covered every color spectrum they had, right? And the long story on this thing is, you know, you keep that plant in the back of your head like, oh, yeah, okay, green maybe, okay. And I just never could get any pop out of it. I want something that really gets you. I want it to look elegant, but I want somebody to go, wow, that's pretty. So I kind of had an idea, and we decorate a Christmas tree differently every year. So this year we go up, and I started to get some ornaments and stuff at the store, and the wife goes, you got a bunch of hodgepodge stuff. Let me deal with this. I go, okay, but I kind of want to get this color area because I kind of want to see what it's going to look like on the truck, right? I kind of want to get an idea on these colors. So she does, and she comes back and she sets this tree up, and it is the most beautiful Christmas tree we've ever had. It is absolutely stunning, right? And I'm, wow, man, it's gorgeous. So I'm sitting in the chair one night and watching TV, and I'm having a cocktail, and I kind of look over at the tree, and I go, man, that color's got to be on this tree. It has to be here. So I'm like, nah. So I look over and I see this one ornament, and I go, that's it. That's it. I get up from the chair, I go over in the tree, I picked out the ornament, came back, and I go, that's it, done, pick the color. So I brought it into South City later that week, brought it into Bill, and he looked at me and he goes, you're kidding me. And that's how we ended up. Took it to Bill, then he took it to Company Color. They did a match on the color, chased it down, took Joe about 2 to 3 weeks to get the color right. It was a little hard test, but I had faith in him. He goes, man, I don't know. I go, I got faith in you, you'll get it. And he did, he nailed it. Got it just right, spot on to the ornament. So then we painted it, and then I was a little nervous. I was like, man, this could be a real dud or it could be a winner. There's no in between, And once it was on the chassis, it was kind of scary. But then when you put the truck together, it's like, okay, it's coming along.
Well, it really pops, and to think that you got it from an ornament.
Right.
You took it from ornament. So what does your wife say once you said, I'm going to paint the truck this color, and then now that she sees it the way that it is?
She thinks it's beautiful. I mean, she loves it. And, she really, she was just kind of going along with what we had already and, said, okay, hey, looks great. So it she loves the color. That's part of it, too, is all the girls love the color. I mean, that's a win, right? At least, because a lot of girls are like, but it's a win in that.
We got that 50s era, kind of that poodle skirt era.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got some killer background music. Bear with us. Interior, you go with this color, and then you go with a rich mahogany style, deeper leather. Was that hard after you picked your color?
Well, Bill's a good lead, but my wife also had these like dark burnt bronze bulbs, ornaments along with that tree. So we kind of went through it. It kind of matched a pine cone kind of thing, and that was kind of the color tone. So going with Bill, we kind of came out with it's like a dark espresso, and I wanted a cloth mix on this one. I said, hey, I want a cloth mix. So I hooked up with Chris Plant, who did my Woody, and he kind of came up with this. Him and Bill kind of said, hey, here's what we got. Pick through here. What do you think? I went through and I go, hey, I like this. So I moved with Bill and I, and then I moved to Chris. And then Chris and I went through it. We kind of came up with some stuff. I go, you know what? It needs some embellishments. What are we going to do for buttons? And I'm looking all over for different buttons and this. And he came up with the Impala buttons. And it turned out good. And then Chris made the trim that goes in the door. That was all handmade. So a lot of the stuff that went in there, he did.
Another thing that pops is your white steering wheel with your white walls. So you get that balance. So you're getting the rich paint, the rich color, the rich wood bed with your interior, but you went with the white steering wheel with the white wall. What are you thinking on that white steering wheel?
I've got that in my Woody, and everything I do, I put that steering wheel in there because the steering wheel is just a winner. So that was the first thing that came in the truck before we even got started with the steering wheel. I did want white walls. That was another ad. I told Bill, I go, I want white walls. He's like, all right, away we go, white walls. We kind of picked through that. The bed wood actually is Claro walnut. It came from Modesto. It was a tree that came out of Modesto. Cut it down. It was done. I had a friend of mine that deals with walnut. We took it in and had it milled and cut it into the bedwood. And so it's like local bedwood out of Modesto, hometown wood, and it's only grown in that region. So Claro walnut comes out of our Central Valley area. So it's a little different than most. So it's really kind of cool and unique walnut. And the color looks good. I mean, if you look at with the interior, it goes pretty good. So
they balance really well. So going back to your buddy who got the truck, where did the truck come from?
You know what? I don't know. He picked it up along, I don't know, along the area somewhere in the valley. He had it. I think he picked it up on, like Craigslist or something like that.
Probably a Cali truck. So you've got Cali walnut, Cali truck. Now, what about this motor? So I think the biggest thing is you kept it carbureted. You've got some nostalgic styling here. Again, you've kept it. You went with the Chevy small block. You've got the Ram horns. What about the motor? Was that an easy pick? Because, you're putting a Chevy motor in a Ford truck. That's a little bit sacrilegious, even though everybody does it.
Well, in that period of time, that's what they did, right? Yeah. So and I was going period correct. I'm kind of like, hey, I want to build at that time period, something that you would see cruising the streets. Hey, guy rolls out and this is what he's got. That's kind of where I was going with it. Like the wiring, I wanted cloth wiring. I wanted everything to be fit to that period. So when I bought the truck, it had a small block Chevy in it. Well, I thought it had a, 327, 350, right? I didn't dig into it. Well, come to find out, it had a 305. I'm like, Bob, what are we doing with the 305? Right?
The boat anchor.
Exactly. I'm like, what do we do? So we yanked that out, put a 383 in it, and went with that. And then we went the carburation is actually fuel injection, and it made it look like it is. So
yeah, it doesn't look fuel injection at all.
Yeah, so it looks like it should be period correct, and that's kind of the way we went. And then Bill came up with the screening on the interior. So when we redid the firewall, right, and then the wheel wells, was like, okay, what are we going to do? We kind of matched the styling of the firewall, but the 44 doesn't get a lot of air, right? So in that, it heats up, so you not getting a lot of volume in there from the front end. So Bill came up with the idea of the stainless mesh screening in there, and we just kind of cut
Blow out of the deal.
Yeah, get more airflow out of it, and it looks cool too. I mean, it's kind of been a winner. I'm like, man, that looks good. Good idea.
Well, the damn thing barely fits in there. We'll take some B-roll of this screening to get more airflow. Love the truck, love the style, love your vision, and love your balls, because to paint a truck off of a Christmas ornament and match the wood, essentially the wood grain, the walnut, and the seat off of a Christmas tree. Do you have a name for this thing?
You know what? We've tossed this thing around 100 times. I've had 15 different names. Jade Pearl is what we ended up landing on. And I'm still kind of iffy. It was going to be the Traveler in the beginning, but just kind of way we go. So here it is. Jade.
So I love naming things.
Yeah.
And Feliz Navidad right now. It's coming to. I mean, I look at this thing. It might be Feliz Navidad. I'm just saying, if you name a truck after a Christmas ornament, it might have to be Greg Tidwell. He's out of Cali. South City Rods. These guys killed it. Grand National Truck of the Year, 1944. Love it, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, guys.
Feliz Navidad out.